I caught my wife cheating with my business partner and used our own company to destroy them both live on camera. It started with a tablet we forgot to log out of. I'm Ethan Reyes, 36, co-founder and lead developer of Core Sync, the fitness tech app that lets influencers turn their daily routines into paid subscriptions. I built the backend, the security stack, the code that kept people's secrets safe. Too bad I didn't build a firewall for my own life. Lauren, my wife, was the face of our brand. 34, marketing genius, all cheekbones and TED Talk charm. She could sell tofu to Texans. She knew every algorithm, every caption trick. To the world, she was poised and brilliant. At home, she could be cold, beautiful, but sharp-edged. The kind of woman who didn't just crave success. She needed an audience. We had a rhythm. Coffee at 7, green smoothies at 10, investor calls, staff meetings, a glass of red while we debugged new features. We were growing fast, subscribers doubling, Series B inbound. To everyone else, we were the dream startup couple. The power pair, Forbes called us. And then one Tuesday morning, the tablet changed everything. It was our testing device. A shared Samsung we used to demo the app on different screen sizes. We both used it, mostly her lately. I picked it up to check a rendering bug I'd flagged the night before. The app auto-synced an old inbox folder from a sandbox email account we'd created for internal testing. Except it wasn't empty. It was Lauren's personal messages. Encrypted, hidden inside a dummy account we used to simulate UX behavior. She probably assumed it wouldn't sync, or maybe she was just careless. Either way, I built the goddamn encryption. I had the master key, and that's how I found out she'd been stress testing Derek. Derek Maddox, my co-founder, my friend since sophomore year at Stanford, the guy who convinced me to turn a sleep tracking side project into a startup, the man who toasted us on our wedding day. To Ethan and Lauren, the dream team. Turns out, he was dreaming of her in ways I hadn't imagined. I shouldn't have read more, but I did. Every message was another crack through the version of my life I thought was real. Lauren, you make me feel like I exist again. With Ethan, I feel like a background process. Derek, because I see you, babe. I feel you. And once we go public, we don't have to pretend anymore. Lauren, he can't ever know. That was the last line. And the moment I decided I wouldn't just confront them. I'd ruin them. Not with rage. Not with violence. With code. With silence. With strategy. They smiled at each other like I was already gone. Inside jokes across conference tables. Shared Ubers to offsites. Side glances that lasted just a beat too long. It was all right there. They weren't hiding. They just didn't think I was watching. But I was. After I read those emails, I didn't scream. I didn't smash the tablet. I didn't even confront her. I went to work like nothing happened. Same coffee shop on Valencia. Same corner table. Same worn hoodie she used to tease me about. The one that made me look like a depressed TED Talk ghost. She texted me that morning like she always did. Investor deck ready. Derek wants to practice at lunch. You coming? I replied, go ahead without me. Still fixing the crash bug. She sent a heart emoji. I stared at it for a while. Then I opened Terminal and started recording keystrokes on her laptop. There's a line people cross when they cheat. Everyone thinks it's the sex, but it's not. It's the moment they start rewriting history, making you the villain so they can be the victim. That's what Lauren was doing now. I watched it unfold like a bad play I couldn't leave. She'd started building a version of me that was cold, distant, obsessive with code, emotionally unavailable. Funny, I was the same man she married, the one who carried her shoes after galas, who rubbed her feet after red ice, who turned down speaking gigs just to debug her slides. Now, apparently, I was the problem. I started tracking their meetings. I already had backend access to our calendar sync. She didn't know the dev tools logged metadata every time someone created or edited an event. Tuesday lunch with vendors? That was her and Derek at the rooftop bar 2 blocks from our office. I had the receipt. They used the company card. Thursday night, strategy dinner. I traced the Uber drop-off. Derek's apartment. 11:13 p.m. The next morning, she came in glowing. Hair still wet from a quick rinse. Big night. I asked casually. She laughed. Ugh, yeah? That steak place wrecked my stomach. They thought they were subtle. They weren't. I sat through meetings watching them exchange glances like I was the intern. Derek pitched new monetization models while Lauren played with her pen, twirling it in her mouth like something out of a bad ad campaign. Then she'd flash me this fake smile, the kind people give old friends they secretly outgrew. He called me buddy more often. Buddy, can we push that launch to Friday? Buddy, can you simplify the dashboard for investors? Every time he said it, I imagined breaking his jaw. Instead, I nodded. Sure, buddy. That weekend, I copied Lauren's entire laptop. Emails, notes, voice memos. I knew I'd crossed a line, but they had already bulldozed through every line that mattered. The voice memos hit hardest. One of them was from 2 weeks ago. Just her voice. Soft. Giddy. Like the way she used to sound when we first started dating. I'm scared, but I'm also excited. Derek gets me. We laugh. We feel. Ethan, he's just so there. Always there. Like static. Like an open tab I forgot to close. I listened to that one twice. Then I opened the prototype app, the very one I built from scratch, and I started rewriting access tokens. Because if I was just an open tab she forgot to close, I was about to become the virus that took down their entire browser. By the time they slept together again, I owned 80% of the company. It started with a dormant clause, buried in our original founder agreement, one Derek skimmed and signed without reading because he was late for a pitch dinner with 2 VCs and a model he later forgot the name of. A clause that allowed for silent transfer of shares between founders in the event of codebase overhaul. Guess who wrote the codebase? Guess who rewrote it last quarter? I triggered the clause on a Saturday morning while Lauren was at Pilates and Derek was tweeting about productivity hacks from a beach in Half Moon Bay. No alarms. No notifications. Just a back-end restructure and a quiet legal bot running through a private GitHub action I'd built 6 months ago. A paranoid little side project that now felt like divine foresight. It's funny what you learn about someone when you take your emotions out of it. Lauren didn't just cheat. She invested in it. Time. Strategy. Attention. She moved Derek into decision-making meetings gradually, pitching it as branding synergy and vision alignment. He started requesting access to segments of the code he didn't even understand. I watched him fumble through merge requests like a tourist holding a map upside down. Meanwhile, I rewrote our system architecture behind his back, modularized, stripped him of real power, line by line. Then I used his own shares to pay down a phantom debt he agreed to absorb during our Series A, which, conveniently, converted to equity. My equity. Lauren had no idea. She thought I was spiraling, that I was lost in the weeds, as she liked to say. You need to look up more, Ethan. This company isn't just code. But while she was looking up, I was digging tunnels under her kingdom. They were still so smug, still passing phones back and forth during meetings, still whispering about next steps. They didn't know I was the next step. They thought they were building something together, a secret empire in the shadows. But I was already inside their walls, dismantling the foundation brick by brick. That Tuesday, Derek asked to restructure the cap table before our next round. Just to simplify things, buddy. Clean lines. You keep the code. I take point on growth. I smiled. Totally. I've been thinking the same. He looked relieved. Poor guy didn't realize he was about to buy back shares that were already worthless. I booked Nobu under Derek's name. Private table. Ocean view. 7:30 p.m. Just the 3 of us. Lauren thought it was to celebrate the new subscriber milestone. Derek thought it was to realign founder energy. They were both wrong. It was their last supper. Lauren walked in first, heels sharp, lipstick louder than her laugh. She kissed my cheek like she hadn't been moaning someone else's name 48 hours ago. You shaved? She said, touching my jaw. I felt like being clean tonight. Derek showed up 10 minutes late, reeking of Tom Ford and fake confidence. Sorry, traffic was hell. But hey, this place. Damn. You went all out, buddy. Buddy. That word again. He still didn't know I had access to every email he'd ever sent from his Core Async account, including the one where he referred to me as dead weight with good optics. I ordered wine. The same Bordeaux Lauren once told me made her feel like a villain in a Netflix series. Perfect. We toasted. To growth. To trust. To the future. God, they love that word. Future. We made small talk. Lauren bragged about the app's new influencer partnership. Derek name-dropped a billionaire who slid into his DMs. I nodded, smiled, laughed at the right places. And then I said, I have something for you guys. Lauren raised an eyebrow. What kind of something? I reached into my coat and pulled out a small envelope. Inside, a folded sheet of paper. Standard printer paper. Nothing fancy. I handed it to Derek first. He opened it with a cocky smirk. And then his eyes froze. Lauren leaned over to look. Her smile cracked. They read it together in silence, mouths moving, but no sound. Just the flickering candle between us and the ocean wind hitting the glass behind our booth. It was one of Derek's emails. Printed, highlighted, timestamped. From his Core Async account. Subject line. L stays over again. Need cleanup protocol. He looked up, trying to fake composure. Where'd you? You left your admin panel logged in. I said casually, sipping my wine. Rookie move. Lauren's hands clenched under the table. I don't know what this is, Derek started. It's a wine list, I interrupted, sliding the Nobu drink menu across the table. But this one had something special. I'd printed Derek's entire inbox on the back of the wine list. Dozens of messages in small font, visible under the restaurant's soft lighting. I thought we could read through them together. You know, like a retrospective. Lauren shot up from her chair. Are you seriously doing this here? She hissed. I leaned back, utterly calm. Why not? You love an audience. The waiter arrived with the wine. Shall I pour? He asked, oblivious. Please, I said. Lauren stared at me with pure hatred. Derek looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. Neither of them moved. I raised my glass. To partnerships, I said. And secrets. We clinked glasses. They didn't drink. But I did. You're paranoid. That's the first thing she said after the waiter left. Not sorry, not let me explain, just that. You're spiraling, Ethan, she continued, her voice low and cold, like I was some intern she had to coach through a PR crisis. This obsession with emails and wine lists. It's unhealthy. Derek stayed quiet. Coward. His hand hovered near his glass, then pulled back like it might burn him. I leaned in. Did you sleep with him? Silence. Then Lauren scoffed. Are you serious right now? I read the emails. The timestamps. I traced your Uber receipts. I have login metadata. Derek's calendar invites. Your synced voice memos. Her expression didn't change. Not even a twitch. Instead, she smiled. That same fake, camera-ready smirk she used at launch parties and founder mixers. I think you need help, she said, like she was diagnosing me. I almost laughed. Help? I repeated. For what? For this narrative you're building. It's not real, Ethan. Gaslight me harder, Lauren. Lie straight through those perfect teeth. Tell me I made it up. That I'm imagining the taste of betrayal on your breath. Go ahead. I didn't interrupt her. I let her spin the whole story. She said the messages were taken out of context. That the tone was playful. That startup culture was flirty by default. She said she and Derek had just been venting. That I'd been emotionally unavailable. That this whole thing was about feelings, not facts. And finally, I would never hurt you like that. You know me. Oh, but I did know her now. I slid a single photo across the table. One of the PI shots. Her and Derek. Office. After hours. His hand on her thigh. Her head on his shoulder. No laptops. No paperwork. She flinched. Only for a second. Then the mask came back on. Do you seriously have someone following me now? She snapped. Are you that unhinged? You said I was imagining things, I replied. She opened her mouth to say something else, probably a lecture on privacy or boundaries or therapy. But I beat her to it. I stood, dropped 100 on the table, didn't even wait for change. Then I looked down at her. You kissed my cheek when you walked in here, I said. She blinked, confused. I smiled, I continued. You were already done. Outside, I felt the wind hit my face like a reset button. Inside, I left her sitting in front of a wine-stained menu and a man who'd just realized he'd never been the alpha in this story. He came to me like he was doing me a favor. Casual, but rehearsed. Blue blazer, no tie. Cufflinks that screamed I'm winning. Same smirk he used in pitch meetings when he thought he was charming the room. Ethan, man, he said, closing the glass door to my office. Can we talk? Founder to founder? I minimized the terminal window I wasn't supposed to be working in. Of course, I said. Always. He sat, crossed one leg over the other, looked around like he owned the place. And then he said it. I think it's time you took a step back. The words hovered in the air like a punch that hadn't landed yet. For your own good, he added quickly. Your energy's been off. The dinner? The emails? That was a lot, man. He leaned forward, hands clasped like he was my therapist. This doesn't have to be messy. We're worried about you. We, as if she was in the room. as if they weren't the ones lighting matches behind my back and calling it candlelight. You're saying I should leave the company, I said. No, no, just take a breather. Step away from the day-to-day. We'll buy out some of your shares at market value. Generous split. You'll still be a silent partner, of course. Respected. Respected. I almost choked. I nodded slowly. You're offering to buy me out. Exactly, he said, smiling like we'd just solved world hunger. He even had the nerve to pull out a term sheet. Clean. Pre-signed. All I had to do was accept. This is for your peace of mind, he said. And Lawrence too. We can't keep operating under tension. It's not healthy for the team. Or the brand. I skimmed the doc. It was neat. Precise. It even used the new valuation figure Lauren had leaked last week to a friend at TechCrunch, which meant Derek thought he was buying me out at the company's peak. He had no idea. I'd already devalued his equity with the restructuring. The real shares, the ones tied to core IP, were in my name. His were attached to old agreements. Shells. Legally worthless. He was offering to buy back stock I'd turned into confetti, and he thought he was saving me. This was his hero arc. I pulled my unstable co-founder out of the fire moment. He had no idea I was the fire. I looked up, smiled, held out my hand. Let's do it, I said. His grin widened like he'd just won. But inside, I watched the gears turn on a machine I'd been building for months. Investor night was her idea. Lauren said we needed a win. That we should go big, go glossy, go live. New subscriber milestone. Major feature launch. A live stream Q&A for our VC partners and press contacts. We have momentum, she said. Let's make them feel it. She meant fake it. She always did. I nodded like it was genius. Inside, I was building something else. They booked the studio in Soma. Full lighting rig. Bar cart in the corner. Branded backdrop behind the chairs. Core async. Train smarter. Live better. Derek hired a streaming team. Lauren picked out the camera angles. They thought it was going to be their moment. It was. Just not the kind they'd rehearsed. Are we good on audio? Lauren asked the crew, checking her reflection in her phone camera. You look great, Derek said behind her, trying not to be obvious about how his eyes dropped from her face to her hips and back. I watched from across the room, sipping black coffee like I was just another code monkey grateful to be invited. Truth was, I'd been coming here after hours all week. Testing the AV switcher. Mapping the inputs. Embedding my own media file in the folder labeled promo_final_final. MP4. Nobody noticed. They never do, until it's too late. 10 minutes before we went live, Lauren pulled me aside. You're going to be cool, right? She meant silent. She meant obedient. I'm fine, I said. Just happy to be part of the team. She nodded, relieved. Touched my arm, as if I was still hers. The countdown began on the monitor. 3, 2, 1. We were live. Derek leaned forward, smiling at the camera like a presidential candidate. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to share this moment with you. Core Async has been evolving, and we think you're going to love what comes next. Lauren followed, breathless, rehearsed. This isn't just a product. It's a platform, a lifestyle, and we couldn't have done it without the incredible vision of our team. I smiled. She meant me. The vision, the product, the code that made it all run. Derek turned to the screen behind us. Let's kick things off with a sneak peek of our newest campaign video. He clicked the remote. The studio lights dimmed, and the tape rolled. But it wasn't the promo. It was them. A grainy webcam feed. The office. Late at night. Lauren in Derek's lap. Her mouth on his. Her voice breathy. We'll be unstoppable once he's gone. The room froze. The audio kept playing. Just smile at him in meetings. Make him feel like he still matters. Lauren gasped. Derek stood so fast he knocked over his stool. We're having technical issues, he snapped at the crew. The chat window below the stream was exploding. Investor names. Journalists. Hundreds of viewers. WTF is this? Are you kidding me? So much for transparency. Lauren turned to me. Pale. You bastard, she whispered. I leaned into my mic. Welcome to Core Async. We were still live when Derek shoved me. Camera 1 caught it in 4K. Lauren's mic was still hot when she screamed. Turn it off. Turn it the F*** off. And me? I just stood there, calm as ever, adjusting my collar like I was prepping for a fireside chat instead of a corporate execution. The footage rolled on behind us. No cuts. No edits. Another scene. Lauren straddling Derek on my office chair. Another voice memo. I'm sick of pretending. He's just code and coffee and silence. He's not a man. The studio crew froze like they'd stumbled into a murder scene. The producer whispered, "Do you want me to kill the stream?" I didn't answer, because the comments were coming faster now. This real. Invested $30,000 in these clowns. Who runs HR at this dumpster fire? And then, from one of our top investors. I want my money out. Derek charged toward me again, veins bulging, eyes wild. You son of a bitch. This is illegal. You can't. Everything shown is from Core Async property. I interrupted, voice steady. Company devices. Company accounts. Company premises. Lauren spun on me. You're destroying us. I looked at her. No, I said. You did that. I just gave everyone a front row seat. She stormed off the set, heels echoing across the concrete floor. Derek followed, but not before hurling his mic at the camera and yelling, "This isn't over." The feed was still going. Thousands of people watching. Reporters, investors, fitness influencers, tech brothers burners. All of them. I walked back into frame. Thank you for joining us for this very special Core Async presentation, I said, deadpan. We hope it was illuminating. And then I ended the stream. Black screen. Silence. Afterward, I went back to my office. Sat in my chair, the one they desecrated, and opened Slack. One message, company-wide. To our team and supporters, effective immediately, I'll be addressing questions regarding Core Async's leadership and direction. More soon. No rage. No panic. Just control. The morning after the stream, no one came into the office. Slack was a ghost town. Investor threads unread. One intern posted a single message. So are we still launching V4 or? No one replied. Derek tried to control the damage. Sent out a statement calling the stream a malicious internal breach. Said it was fabricated. Said it was taken out of context. But screenshots don't lie. And neither do subscription cancellations. Within 48 hours, our numbers dropped by 38%. 3 brand partners backed out. A VC firm that just wired a bridge round reversed the transfer. Someone on Twitter called it the Fire Festival of Fitness Tech. It trended for 9 hours. Lauren went radio silent. No apology. No statement. She just vanished. The woman who used to post 4 times a day about leadership, empowerment, and matcha. Her Instagram bio used to say co-founder, strategist, disruptor. Now it just said, taking a break. I walked into the office Thursday at 8:02 a.m. The place was empty, except for the cleaning crew. Derek's office was locked. Mine was wide open. I sat down, opened my laptop, and watched the board calendar populate in real time. Emergency session, Friday 2 p.m. No Lauren. No Derek. Just the board. They'd finally seen enough. That night, I got a call. Blocked number. I let it ring once. Twice. Then picked up. It was Derek. You think you won, he hissed. I didn't answer. You just burned down your own company. I finally spoke. No, I said. I'm just clearing out the termites. He hung up. The next day, I arrived at the board meeting 10 minutes early. Everyone was already there. Gray suits. Cold eyes. Printed screenshots of headlines on the table. Startup scandal goes viral. Co-founders caught in affair amid tech meltdown. Sex, lies, and source code. The chairman looked at me. Ethan, you'll remain for this vote. Derek and Lauren are no longer invited. The session was short, focused, brutal. By the end of it, the board had made their decision. The company would continue, under my control. The others? Removed. Locked out. Stripped of authority. The chairman shook my hand. You're calm, he said. Always, I replied. I resigned the next day. Not because I lost. Because I'd already won. And I wasn't about to spend another second cleaning up the blood they left on my floor. The press called it unexpected. TechCrunch said I was bowing out gracefully. The Verge speculated I had bigger plans. All true, but not in the way they thought. My statement was short, polished, sterile. After years of building Core Async from the ground up, I've decided to step back and pursue solo ventures. I'm grateful to our investors, our team, and especially our users. I didn't mention Lauren. Didn't mention Derek. Didn't need to. They were already ghosts. Lauren tried to control the narrative. Posted a vague Instagram story the same night. Muted colors. Quote from Breen Brown. Sometimes growth looks like silence. Comments were turned off. But the silence didn't stop the bleeding. PR firms dropped her. The wellness brand she'd partnered with pulled their campaign. Someone leaked Slack messages of her mocking users behind their backs. She was toxic now. Unhireable. Exactly as planned. She showed up at my apartment 2 weeks later. Hair in a bun. Hoodie that wasn't hers. Eyes red like she'd been trying to cry but ran out. I opened the door. Didn't invite her in. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stared at her for a second, then stepped aside just far enough for the hallway light to hit her face. She took it as a yes. She didn't sit. Just stood there, wringing her hands. I messed up. I didn't reply. I ruined everything. Still nothing. I don't know who I am anymore. That one almost made me laugh. Then she looked up at me, desperate. "Can we fix this?" I tilted my head. Fix what? Us. This. The company. Everything. We were building something real. You were ing Derek in my office. Her mouth opened, then shut again. I let the silence stretch. Then I pulled out my phone. Hit record. "I just need you to say that again," I said. Her face crumbled. "You're recording me?" "Yup." "Why?" "Insurance." She looked sick. "Ethan, please. I'm not sending it anywhere." I cut in. "I just want it on record. For the next time you try to spin the story." She didn't speak after that. Just stared at me. Like she was seeing me for the first time. And maybe she was. Because I wasn't the guy she cheated on anymore. I was the guy who survived it. Before she left, she turned to me one last time. "What do I do now?" I shrugged. "Apply for jobs. Get a new headshot. Lie better." Then I closed the door. And locked it. I didn't have to file the lawsuit. I just had to leak the files. See, Derek had been cooking the books for months. Moving marketing budget into side accounts. Creating influencer contracts with signatures that looked suspiciously like his own in slightly different fonts. It was sloppy, but not sloppy enough to catch, unless you had access to the raw logs. I built the back end. I had everything. And now, so did the SEC. I uploaded the documents anonymously to a compliance watchdog forum, the kind investors monitor like gossip blogs. Within 48 hours, the emails were in Bloomberg's hands. And the feds weren't far behind. Derek called it a misunderstanding. His lawyer called it an unfortunate coincidence. But the documents spoke louder. Wire transfers to a shell LLC in the Caymans. Invoices for marketing events that never happened. A $22,000 consulting fee to an address that traced back to his ex's dog-walking business. It was never about building a company. It was about bleeding one dry. What Lauren didn't realize, not until too late, was that her name was on most of the approvals. Co-signer on expense reports. Creative lead on the branded content campaign that never existed. Hell, she signed off on the same fake invoice twice. Once on her laptop, once on her phone. Biometric timestamps don't lie. And now, neither could she. I didn't tell her. Not directly. I let her find out the same way the world did. Through a subpoena delivered to her new P.O. box and a headline that read, "Core Async co-founders under federal review for financial misconduct." She showed up again. This time, outside my office. Tears again. Same hoodie. Same panic in her eyes. "You set us up," she hissed. "No," I said, looking her dead in the face. "You set you up. I just stopped covering for you. You knew he was dirty and didn't warn me. I thought you two told each other everything." She stared at me like I was a stranger. But I wasn't a stranger. I was just finally done pretending to be the husband she could lie to. That night, her lawyer called mine. Wanted to resolve things quietly. Off the record. Minimal fallout. Too late. I sent back a one-line email. "Discovery is a bitch." She never read the prenup. Too many pages. Too much legalese. She skimmed it like a blog post. Eyes glazed over, smiling as she signed it over brunch. Said she trusted me. Her exact words? "We'll never need it." But we did. God, we did. Clause 47, subsection B, titled plainly, Fidelity and Contingency Dissolution. In short, if either spouse is found to have committed infidelity during the term of marriage, and such infidelity causes reputational or financial harm, the aggrieved party keeps everything. Not half. Everything. And the cheating party? They get what Lauren left me with. Nothing. She found out when the papers were served. Her lawyer called mine, flustered. Said the clause was unenforceable, outdated, cruel. We sent him a flash drive. Footage. Emails. Timestamps. Every betrayal backed by digital proof and contract language signed in ink. The clause was airtight. I was in the middle of a pitch call for my new solo venture when I saw her name flash across my phone. Didn't answer. Let it go to voicemail. When I finally listened to it that night, I heard something I hadn't heard from Lauren in years. Actual fear. Ethan, please. I didn't know it was that serious. Can we talk? I made mistakes, I know that. But I don't deserve to be destroyed. No, Lauren. You don't deserve to be destroyed. You deserve the truth. And now you have it. In legal form, signed and notarized. She showed up one last time. At my new office. Smaller. Sleeker. Mine. Hair pulled back. Neutral makeup. Voice soft. Like she thought humility might still work on me. I've lost everything, she said. I nodded. That tends to happen when you bet against the person who built the foundation. She looked around. Saw the new logo on the glass. You're really doing this without us. Us. There was no us. Just me. And the rubble you left behind. Then she said it. I'll work for you. Assistant, advisor, whatever. I just need something. I paused. Looked her in the eye. Then I smiled. All right, I said. You can start Monday. I rebuilt the app from scratch. New name. New interface. New data model. Stripped out every line of their branding. Rewrote the onboarding flow. Removed every trace of Lauren's splash screen quotes and Derek's gamification prompts. What was left? Just code. Clean, fast, lean. And mine. I called it reform. No one asked why, but everyone got it. It launched 3 months after I walked away from Core Sync. No investor livestream. No rooftop party. Just a quiet rollout to a closed beta list of 2,000 users. Within 24 hours, the waitlist hit 50,000. Within 2 weeks, it was outpacing Core Sync's growth curve by 3x. The same people who ghosted me during the scandal were now sliding into my inbox with congratulations and circling back. Funny how fast people pivot when you win. CNBC asked for an interview. Primetime. Full segment. Lauren used to dream about that kind of press. She once said, "All I want is for the world to hear our story." Well, now they would. The anchor asked me about the app, the growth, the scandal. I kept it classy. Said I'd learned a lot about team dynamics, about resilience, about choosing your partners wisely. And then she asked, "Is there anything you'd like to say to your former co-founders?" I smiled, slow, calm, exact. "Yes," I said. "I'd like to thank them. Lauren and Derek pushed me to my limit. And that pressure forced me to rebuild something better." Pause. Sometimes the broken algorithm isn't the product. It's the people writing it. They aired it live. Lauren watched from her one bedroom in Oakland. Derek, probably drunk, didn't make it past the opening credits. Reform got 2 acquisition offers that month. I turned them both down. This wasn't about the money. It was about the clean slate. A company untainted by betrayal. A product I could finally believe in. Something honest. They watched my CNBC interview from a borrowed Roku in a studio apartment with 1 broken blind and 2 folding chairs. Lauren sat stiff, arms crossed, expression frozen in some twisted mix of disbelief and pride and regret. Derek was on the floor, half drunk, scrolling through Twitter, trying not to look like the punchline he'd become. "Can you turn it off?" he muttered after my face filled the screen. Lauren didn't move. The apartment was his, technically. 1 bedroom. Water-stained ceiling. Rent overdue. After the lawsuit and the Core Sync collapse, Derek burned through his savings in a month. No more brand deals. No more angel investor poker nights. No more fake charm getting him into real rooms. He was back to where he started. Only now, everyone knew exactly who he was. Lauren lost her name in the industry. The PR firms blacklisted her. The agencies wouldn't touch her. Every Google search showed the livestream first and her silence second. She tried rebranding, deleted every old photo, changed bios, even pitched a podcast about reinventing after failure. No one bit. She was radioactive. And Derek? He was just sad. A narcissist with no one left to perform for. They fought a lot. About money. About blame. About who ruined it. Lauren said he was supposed to protect her. Derek said she was the one who made it public. They didn't realize I made it public. I wanted them to live in the very silence they forced me to endure. Then, one morning, a knock on their door. They weren't expecting anyone. Didn't get visitors. Barely had furniture. Lauren opened it. Small white box. No return address. She opened it slowly, as if afraid it might explode. Inside, a cake. Perfectly round. Frosted clean. 3 words piped on top in neat blue icing. Beta testing complete. Derek stared at it for a long time. Lauren didn't speak. She knew exactly who sent it. Not out of cruelty. Not out of ego. Out of clarity. Because the test was over. And they'd failed. I deleted the Core Async app from my phone at 6:42 a.m. No ceremony. No second thought. Just a swipe and a tap. Hold. Remove app. Confirm. It was gone in 3 seconds. 6 years of code. 3 years of marriage. 9 months of revenge. All erased with the same quiet efficiency I'd built it with. I looked out the window of my new office. Different city. Different skyline. Same early morning light cutting through glass. The startup was already humming. Investors were texting. The new dev team was 2 time zones ahead and still trying to keep up. But I wasn't in a rush anymore. I wasn't proving anything. I was just building. Lauren never replied to the cake. But I saw her read the message I sent before it arrived. Thanks for beta testing my patience. No response. Just seen. Fitting. Derek tried to get a job at one of our old incubators. They sent me his resume as a courtesy. I forwarded it back with a single sentence. He builds nothing. Didn't hear from them again. People say revenge doesn't bring peace. But I disagree. Revenge doesn't bring closure. It brings clarity. It shows you who people are and who you were before they made you question it. It doesn't heal the wound, but it reminds you where not to stand next time. My phone buzzed with a meeting reminder. Not with lawyers. Not with co-founders. Not with HR. Just partners. Real ones. People I chose. People who didn't lie. I grabbed my jacket, stepped into the hallway, and left the past right there in the trash icon at the top of my screen. Uninstalled. For good.